It's spring quarter of my senior year at good old Baldwin Wallace College. I'm taking the radio broadcasting course because it's easy and I like radio, and because I need 12 credit hours to be eligible to compete in track. I'm doing mornings on WBWC FM, and I'm also ripping and reading the news around 6 o'clock in the evening. In a couple of weeks, we'll be hosting the Greater Cleveland College Track and Field Championships at the brand new George Finney Stadium. We'll be competing against John Carroll University, Case Western Reserve University, and Cleveland State. I get an idea. So I go see Dr. A, the faculty advisor to the radio station. Our conversation goes something like this. Hi, Dr. A. Would it be okay to run some commercials for our big meet a week from Saturday? We'd love to have more students in the crowd. And he said, Chris, the FCC says we're a non-commercial station, so it's out of the question. And I say, I understand. And at the same time, our signal barely gets off campus. The FCC would never monitor us. We don't have any money to pay for commercials. I learned in class the other day that there are public service announcements. Could we run some of those? And he said, go ahead. There was no production studio at WBWC, so when the station signed off about 10:30 that night, several of us went into the regular studio. There's a big reel-to-reel deck, and I had written this commercial that was a takeoff, a ripoff really, of all the drag race commercials you heard on Top 40 radio. Saturday, at beautiful George Finney Stadium, it's the Greater Cleveland College Track and Field Championships. Be there to see speedster Tommy the Ram Graham compete in the 100-yard dash. Tommy Graham is a star football player who's just been drafted by the LA Rams, and he runs a 9.8-second 100-yard dash. The commercial continues. Watch Henry Lewis, conference champion, burn off the quarter mile. Catch Dave Code soaring 15 feet or higher in the pole vault. It goes on like this for 88 seconds. We name 10 or 12 athletes, including College Division All-American Chris Lytle. Be there Saturday at 11. At track practice, I tell the team about the commercials, and I ask the guys to get the radios tuned to WBWC in the dorms and the frat houses. Somebody said, where is that on the dial? I said, you go all the way down to the left. When you get to the end, just give it a little more turn. 88.3, get it on. I go to the student union. I get them to play it over the intercom. We start playing it on the air at least once an hour, sometimes twice, and the other jocks are playing it on the air. And that Saturday, 1/3 of our 2,200-member student body was at that track meet. Later that summer, I applied for a news job at WCLT AM and FM, my hometown station in Newark, Ohio, and the boss says, I can't give you a news job, but I can put you on in sales. And so I took the sales job, and I told my parents that I was going to be selling radio advertising, and my mother said, I have never responded to a radio ad in my life. I do not know why you would go into that business. I'm not deterred. I already know that people listen and respond to radio commercials. I believe in what I'm selling on day one, and I transfer that belief to my advertisers and prospects. I even tell them the story about the first sale I made at a college radio station that didn't run radio commercials. And I've been transferring that belief to my audiences for the last 40 years. What are you doing to build your belief in what you're selling? That's an important question, because problems of belief are more critical than problems of technique. Talk soon.